Mr. Rogers. Welcome to our neighborhood.
I like you just the way you are.
Did not plan for the March 20th, 1928.
This is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child.
Do you see it? Do you see the trolley on top of the sign? How are you today, guys? If you're new to my channel, I welcome you. And if you're returning, welcome back. That's usually how I start, and that is how I'm going to start today. It is Chris from Beardsman, and today I am in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. It's a little city. It's about an hour from Pittsburgh. It's a little bit wet out, but it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Did you get that? Anyway, I am here and I am taking you on a Mr. Rogers tour today. I want to take you to the park that was named after his father, where there's a statue of him. I want to take you to his childhood home, and there's other surprises along the way. So you do not want to miss this. Come with me today. We're in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and we're going to see some Mr. Rogers sites. We're going to relive some childhood moments. Let's go. Alrighty, guys. So we're right down here on Main Street in Latrobe. Now, in another vlog, I've done another Mr. Rogers video with a bunch of collectibles and an exhibit at the Heinz History Center in Pittsburgh. But today I really wanted to make it just about Mr. Rogers and where he grew up. Fred McFeely Rogers. Born and raised in Latrobe, Mr. Rogers was the creator, composer, host, and puppeteer of the award-winning TV program Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The program was produced at WQED in Pittsburgh, emphasized kindness, compassion, and learning. An ordained minister, Fred Rogers received the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his outstanding approach to children's media and his legacy of nurturing and inspiring generations of children. Now, you're going to ask me, what is the park named? Is it named Fred Rogers Park? No. This park is actually James Rogers Park, and it's named after Fred Rogers' father. And here's the park, James Hillis Rogers Memorial Park. This park is given in memory of James Hillis Rogers by his family and friends. And this is the park. But I see someone sitting on the bench. I want to go talk to them because they look like they're just by themselves. Let's go check it out. A trolley, and it says, "You are special." That's Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. Right there, check that out. How beautiful is that? Now, I don't know if I should sit down. I'll probably get soaking wet because everything's wet, but this is a bust of Mr. Rogers. Pretty neat, right? This marks that he's a hometown boy, born, raised here, went to school at Latrobe High, but it's right here in this downtown park. There's a police station and the municipal building right across, and it's a smaller park. And right here is Fred Rogers. Alrighty, guys. So this is Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. We're in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Is this the end of the video? No, of course not. You already knew that, right? Let's go check out another site. I want to show you where he was born. I want to show you where he was raised, and then hopefully head over and pay our respects at his grave. So let's go to another site. Now, the next site that I want to show you for Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, is the house he was born in. Because he wasn't born at his parents' house, he was born at his grandparents' house. So I'll tell you a little bit about that, and I'll show you the house here in Latrobe. We're just in a little neighborhood, and you can see that these houses are all older. Now, we're just up the street from the little park where we started the video. But this house right here, I'll show you right there. That's the home right there, 705. That's the home of Fred and Nancy McFeely. And he was raised by his parents, James and Nancy, at a different house, and I'll show you that. But that's the house where Mr. Rogers was born.
His parents lived just down the street here. You know we've named Mr. McFeely for my grandfather McFeely, and I was named for him.
And yes, Mr. McFeely, the speedy delivery man on Mr. Rogers, he was named in honor of Fred's maternal grandfather. But in this little neighborhood, you can see all the houses are older, so they haven't really changed too much. Do you see what the name says? Welcome to our neighborhood with the trolley. This is the house where Fred Rogers was born. March 20th, 2028. How cool is that to see that, right? Alrighty guys, so we started at the park. We came to the house he was born in. Let's go see the house he was raised in. Let's go. We're in another little neighborhood here because I couldn't come to Latrobe and not show you where Mr. Rogers grew up. Now, the street signs, let me cross. We're at Sylvan Avenue and Weldon. And it was in a house right over here where Fred Rogers grew up. This is where all the imagination started and where he would play in his attic, make up the characters that you would know years later. It's right over here. Take a look over at that house right there. See that house with the green pillars in front? Yeah, that was where Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, grew up. He spent many, many hours in the attic playroom surrounded by puppets and his own imagination. We're looking right down the hill, but there's the childhood home of Mr. Rogers, right there. And right up there, you can see up there in the attic, that's where they say he would play with his puppets. And the imagination started. Pretty cool to see that, right? And his father owned that die casting company, but it's a beautiful home. So that's where Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, grew up, played right there in the attic with the puppets. Alrighty guys, another site on our Mr. Rogers tour was where he went to high school. Now it's no longer a high school, it's an elementary school. Let me show you where the high school was. That was Latrobe High School. And that is where Mr. Rogers went to school. Pretty cool. He would have walked right down here, and this is where he went to school. Alrighty guys, we did not plan for this, but as we're driving to another site, we find out the town has a town trolley. So we go, we check it out. Here are some photos. Now you know the 143 on the front of the trolley? Do you know what that stands for? Well, 143 are the number of letters in I love you. We're gonna head over and we're gonna go to the cemetery, pay our respects, and see if we can find the final resting place of Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, and his wife, Joanne. Let's go. Incredibly quiet, peaceful. You can hear the birds singing. Here at Unity Cemetery, I believe that's what it's called, here in Latrobe. But if you follow the yellow brick road, this will take you right to Mr. Rogers' gravesite. I didn't want to drive down this yellow brick road because I don't know if it's an actual road you can drive down. But let's take a walk and see if we can find the final resting place of Fred Rogers. Now, he retired in 2001, but he remained busy working, making public appearances. He has a children's media center named after him at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. Now, in the summer of 2002, he was having a lot of stomach pain. And it continued for some time, and he finally went to see a doctor about it. And in October of 2002, he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. But this is it. Right here. Now, he delayed treatment for the stomach cancer after he served as Grand Marshal of the 2003 Rose Parade with Art Linklater and Bill Cosby in that January.
Hey, here's the Grand Marshals of the big 2003 Rose Parade, and they are Art Linklater, Bill Cosby, and Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers. Here they come.
There they are. Look at what a trio. And by the way, there are only 3 cars in the whole parade that are actually allowed.
Now, on January 6th, he actually underwent stomach surgery. But less than 2 months later, in February of 2003, he passed away at his home in Pittsburgh with his wife by his side. Now, he was comatose shortly before his death, and he was given the last rites of the Catholic Church. Now, on March 1st, 2003, a private funeral was held for Rogers in Unity Chapel, right here at Unity Cemetery. Now, the Unity Chapel was actually restored by Rogers' father. 80 relatives, co-workers, and close friends attended the service, which was planned in great secrecy. Now, here you can see flowers. You can see a little stone that says thank you, and a hat. There are notes left. I'm not going to read people's personal notes because I don't believe in doing that. You can see right there on the left, Fred McFeely Rogers, March 20th, 1928 to February 27th, 2003. And right across from him is Joanne Rogers, Sarah Joanne Bird Rogers, March 9th, 2028 to January 14th, 2021. She died more recently. But that's it right there. You can see the end. Incredible. To come here and pay our respects at the grave of Mr. Rogers. I've been to a lot of graves, a lot. Hundreds, if not thousands. But this one's pretty special to me. That's the grave of Fred Rogers and his wife right across. Incredible to see that.
I'm just so proud of all of you who have grown up with us. And I know how tough it is some days to look with hope and confidence on the months and years ahead. But I would like to tell you what I often told you when you were much younger. I like you just the way you are.
Alrighty guys, that wraps up this tour of Latrobe, Pennsylvania for Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers. It was gave me chills to visit his final resting place, pay my respects. just an absolute icon in children's programming, what he did for children and what he did for adults. It's just incredible. And I'm so glad that I got to see all these places in Latrobe, and I'm glad that you guys came along. Now, I always like to say life is like a book, and I want to read it with you. Until next time, guys, hit that like and subscribe button below. We're going to go on more adventures together. We're just starting to clear up now, so we're going to get back on the road, but we'll do another one soon. Thanks, guys. Peace.